Hi, guys. Elizabeth Servey here with Thriving Results Coaching. And today we're going to talk about going from zero, meaning you don't have a date, to confidently committed, aka why women won't commit. Okay, what you need to know. All right. So, first, I really want to bust some myths here. Um, the real art and science of creating a relationship, it takes, uh, first of all, the two people with compatible values, a compatible future. And uh, attracting the right person is just step 0.5, right? Step zero is getting clear for yourself. And we're going to talk more about that later. But the worst thing is when you're settling for dates who are not a match, who are, you don't have a lot of options. So you just go out with whoever's available. Um, this is where we get into trouble. And so, as far as why women won't commit, it has to do with basically you've got to build the thing to have a woman commit to a relationship. You have to build the foundation of the relationship. So let's talk about some things to get out of the way first. When you're focused on getting a date, uh, that's the wrong focus from the beginning. It's actually about creating a future. Now, I'm only speaking to men who want to be in a committed relationship. So if that's not you, this probably doesn't apply. Okay. But if you want to be in a committed relationship and you find yourself super single, now you're who I'm talking to. It's not about getting a date. It is about creating a future family, a future partnership. Okay. So, uh, I want you to have total control over who you're dating. I want you to have so many women responding to you and that you have complete choice, that you're having to turn down really great candidates because they're not the best candidates. Okay. I only want you dating marriage quality. And if you haven't seen my webinar, the 5 steps that my clients use to find and keep the woman of their dreams, I go over this in a lot of detail. Okay. Dating marriage quality is a commitment you can make to yourself, but it's hard to make when you're not attracting anybody in the first place. Okay. I don't want you to be in that position where you have 2 women responding to you a month, and that's why you went on 2 dates with those women, neither of whom and nobody was ever under the illusion that they were marriage quality. Okay. We never want you to be in that place. We want your date flow, if you will, like your leads for dates to be so abundant that you can afford to say no to anybody you choose. Okay, so let's get into the actions. The first point is stop taking shots in the dark. Okay, that is take down your current dating profiles because they weren't intentional, right? I'm going to talk to you about this, but you might as well put them on pause if you're not going to delete them. If you aren't having 90% of the women responding to you, high quality women that you're like, wow, I can see why somebody would want to marry her, then take down your profile. Let's put some work into the foundation, at least, of attracting the right person, let alone the foundation of what makes a relationship healthy. I want you to stop trusting your radar for appropriate partners. Okay. If you've ever been through a divorce or a relationship that ended, or both, hopefully, my target audience is really, over 30. So hopefully by that time you've been in and out of relationships, then you know what it's like, the wasted heartbreak of committing to the wrong person. So stop taking shots in the dark. We want you to find out who is a potential right person before you ever date. Stop trusting your chemistry radar. If you're out there waiting to find someone that you feel the spark with, you will feel the spark, and here's why. Your body has a drive to find a mate. It is not a drive to find a compatible partner for your dreams. That's a much higher level brain. Your lizard brain is choosing your dates if you're going with Who appeals to your eyes? Who appeals to your chemistry? Okay. Don't trust your chemistry radar. We're not trying to turn it off. I actually want you to more fully be a man than you've been being, not less of one. But just don't trust it. Okay. Start questioning it. Stop trusting your eyes. This is another reason why your previous swiping on dating apps is going to have been less effective. Listen from your gut. And here's what I mean by that. So as far as stop taking shots in the dark, I'm going to train you to identify potential compatible partners with a deep inner feeling. Like if something feels off, at any point, stop all action and trust your gut. Okay, so that is stop taking shots in the dark. Okay, next, get clear on what you're looking for. A big problem that people a mistake that people make is they put themselves out. So your profile is all about you, for example. So if your dating profile is all about you, you're doing this, okay? Get clear what you are looking for. Don't just put yourself out there. Putting yourself out there is like, taking whatever bait you've got hanging around and throwing it in the river, hoping to find a yellow fin tuna or yellowtail tuna. I think I'm saying that right now. Sorry. You aren't fishing for the actual fish you want. Okay. And this makes sense logically. Oh, hi guys. I see some guys are on the call. Hi, Tony. Hi, Darren. Gentlemen who are on the call specifically, get clear on what you're looking for. Okay. So what does your prize fish look like? And I don't mean physically. I mean, what qualities? So put in the chat what qualities you want, because here's the critical future. If you want someone who aligns with your future, you've got to have thought through this. We want to stop overcomplicating it. Okay. So you've got to identify what are the key components of your future. Okay. So for example, I'm an entrepreneur. One of the key, there's several key parts of my future. One is I've got a very a business where some weeks I'm going to be working 100 hours and some weeks I'm going to be working 2 hours. So that is a key point of my future. Like my business making a difference in the world is what I was born to do. Now, you guys write down and please share in the chat. What are the key points of your future? Without these, you will have died in vain. Like if it's, I want to have more children, a lot of guys have that. Or I want to have children, period. If that is like, this must happen for me to die fulfilled, that is a key point in your future. But we've got to keep it simple. So 1 to 3 points, okay? If you had 3 years to live, what is the most important thing for you to accomplish in that time? Put it in the chat. So Darren says he wants to have kids. Perfect. Okay. That's a deal breaker, right? Like that's like without kids, I would die unhappy. McLean says, find my eternal companion. So McLean, what I think you mean by that is you want to be in a partnership that's so good, you're going to want to be with her after you die. Is that what you mean? Because that's different than just finding her. Actually, creating a relationship is different than finding her. So get clear, okay? Like, for example, perfect. He says yes. If you want to marry your life partner and, live, let's say you're going to die in 3 years. I want to marry her in the next 18 months and I want to have the best marriage on the planet. I can die fulfilled if that's all that I do. Then that would be one of your critical 1 to 3 points. So Darren, if you could have kids without ever getting married and that would fulfill you, that's pretty important to notice. Okay. So what are the critical things in your future And then now we want to ask, let me clarify this a little bit. We want to ask what qualities are going to support that. So McLean, for example, you want to have a marriage that you want to be in after you die. So what does that marriage look like? What I say a healthy marriage is in the thriving relationship model is both partners come whole and complete and as adults. So they treat each other with respect and they value each other immensely. And they restore integrity. So when one of them hurts one of the other one's feelings, of course, they're willing to clean it up, but not by putting your tail between your legs. You're cleaning it up as adults, right? Okay, so McLean, you want to get clear what kind of marriage is the one that you want. So your critical future is get married, create an awesome relationship. What do you mean by awesome? Because you need to know what kind of qualities your future wife has. This is how you stop taking stabs in the dark. Okay, so Darren, Tony's like, I need time to think about this. Okay, you don't need time to think about it. You've been overthinking it. Make it simple, at least for this video, right? Because chances of you going back and thinking about it are nil. So Darren says, I want a good mother. Here's the thing, Darren. What do you mean? A good mother could mean organized. A good mother could mean smart. A good mother could mean she learns quickly from her mistakes. All of those are dramatically different. So what the heck do you mean by a good mother? What does it look like? How do you know she's a good mother? And I can help you find the quality, right? So I recommend, just remember, guys, this is critical for you to be efficient, right? Quit the dating game. That's our goal here. You have so many options that you're building a relationship with the women of your choice in 2 weeks from now. That's what's possible. Okay. So he says empathic, a good sense of humor, handles failures well. So I would say a quality like that is lighthearted and mature. Okay. So Darren, if you want someone who's empathic, lighthearted, and mature, we're just going to pretend that those are your three. Here's the thing. Keep in mind, you're not making a spreadsheet. And I know Darren's not the only one here who has one. You're simplifying this. Once you have qualities that support the future you want, identified. So right now we've got empathic, lighthearted. No, yours is not the best spreadsheet, Darren. Your spreadsheet is your doom. Okay. And what else did we say? Empathic, lighthearted, and what else did we? We'll go with those two for now. Okay. Here's what you want to do. Keep in mind that these have to be qualities, not like she wants an inexpensive wedding. A quality would be responsible with money. Okay. Because you might have a responsible with money wife or fiance who wants 150 people at her wedding because that's how many close friends she has. Oh, mature. Right. The other one was mature. Perfect. Okay. So keep in mind, these are qualities, not specifics. Okay. Now, you can have, if there's any deal breakers, you can have up to 3 of those as well. I'm going to skip that part for now, but that is critical that you guys, because what we want to do is repel the wrong women. So for example, if you will not live with a woman who smokes or uses any substances, then that can be a deal breaker. Okay. But you need to realize if you want an awesome relationship fast, you've got to be willing to pick your battles and pick your top 3 deal breakers at most. Okay. Then this is the next step for everybody. And I got a comment from McLean. I would like a future wife who looks forward to being in my presence, has similar values and similar interests, but can teach me some that I have not tried. Okay. So McLean, what you said is way too vague to be useful. And I don't say that to be critical. I say that because every other man on the call probably has the same problem. Okay? So, what kind of person looks forward to being in your presence? That's a significant, I mean that question. So, for example, let's say, the only thing you like to talk about is tech or fishing. Okay. You want someone who likes conversation, who's into technology, but all those things can change. So, really, someone who looks forward to being in your presence could be anyone with whom you have offered a connection. Any woman that you provide an honest listening for and real connection will want to be in your presence. And I'm including your mother. I'm including your daughter. I'm going to say this again, guys. This is every woman in your life. Any woman will look forward to being in your presence if you provide connection. Oh, I just realized that my sound is like totally over in the corner. Sorry about that, guys. So, McLean, you want to get this more clear. Okay. If they have similar values to you, what values? What are her top 3 values? And by the way, you don't want her to have the same values as you because she won't bring very much to the marriage. But if you want her to have your top 3 values, it could be family, it could be marriage, and it could be religion. Okay. But those need to be specific, not similar values to me. That is way too vague. Similar interest to me, boring. But okay, sorry, I'm being judgmental here. I don't need someone with similar interests to me. Okay, I don't, because I love it. I want the man that I'm with to bring a totally different world to the table from me. But you don't have to want that. So you want her to have similar interests, but a few extra other than you. Cool. Write those down. Okay, I need a list. And again, only pick your top 3. If she shares these, my top 3 passions are restoring cars, Salt Lake Soccer Real, and religion. Okay. And she has to have those 3 top interests. Okay, fine. Okay. But just don't get too bogged down, because honestly, you could really love a woman and have an amazing marriage with a woman who has no interest in your fishing habits or your tech or your sports, which you can also find a woman who loves sports. But my point is, write down the deal breakers. So, McLean, here's the question for everyone to ask yourself. What would I rather be single without? If she doesn't love sports, I'd rather be single. Great. That goes on the list. If she doesn't love sports, but she loves being around me, I don't care about sports. Don't put sports on the list then. Is this making sense, McLean? And Tony, is this landing? So, your critical future, the qualities that she has, critical deal breakers, and what do those look like in evidence? Okay. So we're going to go back to Darren's because he was the first one to get clear. Empathic, lighthearted, and mature. Let's start with mature. That's like my favorite. What, out of your 3, sorry. I love empathic too. Okay. What is evidence that a woman is mature? Darren, this is specific to you. Guys, it's okay. There's not like a right answer. So McLean, if you wanted a woman who's mature, you would need to put what you mean by that. So Darren, do you mean she's 40 years old? Or 80? Like 80-year-olds tend to be pretty mature. What do you mean? Maybe what you mean is she's lived away from home and she's comfortable living on her own. That is a certain sign of a certain kind of maturity. So what kind of maturity do you want? If you want emotional maturity, you are probably looking for a woman who's comfortable being independent without a partner. Now, that's a great challenge to date her because she doesn't need you. Now, that's mature. That's mature. Emotionally mature is a woman who's comfortable on her own. She doesn't need a man. And that is probably not the only place. You probably want someone who's lighthearted. So let's look at lighthearted. What does that look like? Well, it might look like you see her fail and you see her recover within 24 hours. So I'm not lighthearted, and I appreciate lightheartedness. It's not like in my top 10, but okay. So Darren says independence. Darren, again, don't go into qualities. When you say independence, you went right to a quality. I want you to talk about what is evidence that she's mature. So if she's independent, what is evidence? You would be able to see that she's independent. For example, she doesn't need to call her mother every day. The most she ever calls her mom is a couple times a week. That would be a sign of relative independence. So Darren just started listing more qualities. You don't want to go down the rabbit hole of qualities that justify these qualities. No, we are looking for evidence, okay? So back to an actual example. Lighthearted. What is evidence that she's lighthearted? And so I'm really, really passionate. I'm a bad example, okay, of lighthearted. But the point is, when I am really committed to something and it falls through or it doesn't work out, I'm crushed, but I'm not crushed forever, okay? I'm usually crushed for, I don't know, like maybe an hour. If it's really bad, maybe 4 hours, like I could even have a bad day if it's like the end of the world. But yeah, I'm coming right back, So what is evidence that she's lighthearted? Do you mean she likes telling you jokes? Maybe you want a woman who loves like incorporating humor into life, like a woman who makes you laugh, for example. Okay. Now the evidence of that is going to be maybe you laugh when reading her profile. Maybe the first time you guys are texting, you find yourself laughing out loud. Okay. So Darren, I agree. Passionate and lighthearted are not mutually exclusive. That's not the point. But yeah, that's what you're looking for is lighthearted. So we want to get real specific about what that looks like. Humor in a bad day and see silver linings. Good. Those are evidence you can actually look for. So guys, when you get it down to evidence, McLean, I want you to think about evidence. And if you've identified some qualities, McLean, put them in the chat because we talked about like yours are too vague. Okay, so get more specific. But evidence is now what you're looking for before you take her on a date. So for example, Darren wants a girl who can see the silver linings. So Darren, what would be a critical conversation topic to have to find out? Are you going to ask her, hey babe, do you ever see the silver linings and stuff that sucks? No. Every woman would say, of course I do. Right? No. You want to hear her finding the silver linings in your conversations. So what would you need to bring up to see if she sees the silver linings? Darren, stay with me. Stay with me. You're using humor when I want you to be serious and engaged. Okay. So, you want evidence. You want evidence that she's empathic. How would you need to see evidence that someone is empathic? First of all, what would evidence in a profile be that someone is empathic? Do you guys see it? Now, Darren, when you get this down, you're actually going to start looking for these, okay? You're going to start looking for these qualities. So, Tony, you want a woman who's into personal growth. So, Tony, what would be a great question or something you could look for, first of all, on her profile to find out, is she into personal growth and development? Okay, and Darren, I'm going to go back to you. What could you look for in the photos on her profile to find out if this woman is empathic? And also, what could you say in a conversation? How does she treat animals? How does she treat people who serve her? Absolutely. And so, Darren, how could you elicit, that means to draw forth, how she treats service people? You could ask her a question about a time she was at a hotel, right? Or, this is even better, you could bring up a time that you treated a service person bad and see how she responds. And then you would have evidence. You could talk about people, you could make like a lighthearted comment about people who treat animals like crap and see how she responds. And then you could let her know, hey, I just wanted to know what was really there for you about that. That's not how I feel. That's an example of something you can do to find out what is really going on with her without asking her directly, because guys, that never works. Okay? And you haven't been. I'm not saying you've been doing it wrong, but don't start that. Okay? Now, okay, we're going to keep going for a second. Okay, this is the last point, or this is the next point. Use who you've already attracted as a mirror for the signal you're putting out into the universe. So if you're attracting women who are disinterested, you are putting out a vibe that calls for disinterested. So guys, the first shift that you need to make in being successful in landing high caliber women is to take 100% ownership of everything in your life. That is required to occur as a powerful person and be attractive to high caliber women. Okay. For those of you who've seen my webinar, you already know that. But you've got to apply it, knowing it makes no difference. So if you are 100% responsible for everything in your life, you're responsible for attracting losers in as much as you have attracted losers, right? And some guys tell me, I'm actually attracting really high caliber women, but they don't want me. Perfect. That's a mirror too. And it's not a mirror that there's something wrong with you. So you got to be careful with this one. I'd really be careful how you use this one without a coach. This is one of those tools that it's best to have a mentor who knows what they're doing. But I'm going to try and show you how it works. So for the guy who attracts women that are great, but they don't think he's the one. When I looked with him deeply at it, here's what he said. He doesn't see himself as the one yet. Like he's not quite good enough to be the one for himself yet. He judges himself. And so he's attracting women who judge him as not quite there yet. Did that make sense to you guys? Is this landing? So another way of using the mirror is, So another way of using the mirror is look at what hasn't worked for you about the women who do like you. Those are the women you're already attracting. Okay. What doesn't work for you about them? You are sending a signal right now to attract them. So we need to change your signal to call for the woman, Darren, who's empathic, mature, and lighthearted. We already took down your dating profile, right? This is a live video, so I know you haven't done it yet. But Darren, here's the point. You want every picture and every sentence in your profile to speak to and call for women who are empathic, lighthearted, and mature. But here's the problem. What is going to be attractive to her? I'll give you a hint. It's not a description of who you are unless she's a biographer. And Darren didn't say he wants a woman who writes people's stories, so who cares about you? So this is the last piece, okay? You have to speak to her listening. You have to send out a signal that is magnetizing her. Women love to be attracted. We don't like to be hunted. I mean, unless we're like super horny or something. But mostly we do not like to be hunted. We love to be attracted. Okay? So you're going to speak to her listening. What attracts her? So think about this specifically, okay? What would an empathic person be attracted to? What would a lighthearted person be attracted to? I don't know what this says about me, but I'm always attracted to a profile that makes me laugh. I used to have in my dating profile, I will text or swipe up on any man who makes me laugh with his profile. I'm also really attracted to men who make me think. Like if he says something that like makes me think, that is very attractive. So what would attract someone who's serious and mature, but lighthearted? Because those two almost are a contradiction, but they're not mutually exclusive. So what kind of environment would they be attracted to? What kind of employment would they be attracted to? What kind of pets would they be attracted to? So it sounds like, Darren, you want someone, or what would align with your future is a woman who has or loves animals. Okay, specifically cats. Okay, good to know. All right, so here's what would solicit empathic or call for empathic. Okay, something like a picture of your cat recovering from the vet, and a caption like, there's this hilarious meme that my kids always talk about with a cat with the cone of shame, the cone the vets put on them, sitting next to a dog that says, "I'm sorry I sat on my brother and broke him." The dog sat on the cat and broke the cat. So something like that would elicit empathy. Have a woman who's empathic want to respond to you. And we want to repel the wrong women. This takes some intellectual effort, guys. If you're like, I have no idea what she's talking about right now, that's normal. Darren says, yeah. Was that because you have no idea what I'm talking about? Or was that from an earlier statement? Okay. So this is intense, but this is only the beginning. Okay. This is why I tell people you must have a mentor to get you through the treacherous territory of a woman's heart and mind. Okay. You need a map. Okay. So we want to repel the wrong women. McLean, type in the chat, what are some characteristics of the wrong woman? It could be your deal breakers. It could be the opposite of the qualities you want. So Darren, if you want someone empathic, what do you not want? What is the opposite of that? That you're like, if she's this, I do not want her to ever talk to me. I would never marry her. I'd rather be single. Cruel. Perfect. Okay, how do you repel cruel people who are okay with cruelty? By the way, I don't think of people as cruel, but I think of people who are okay with cruelty. Jealous. Jealous is easier. So Darren, I'm going to take McLean's on this one. I do not want a woman who's jealous. So McLean, we want to know what that looks like in evidence. So I'm going to suggest one and just put this in the chat if this resonates with you. You don't want a woman who feels insecure and uncomfortable and cannot handle it when you're not around her. When you're talking to other women, even if it's saleswomen or your sister or your sister-in-law or, right? Maybe you work with women who are single, right? So is that what you mean by jealous? A woman who's comfortable, or excuse me, jealous would be a woman who's not comfortable and secure in herself when you are hanging out with single women. And we're pretending it's your wife, right? So your wife is comfortable with you working on projects alone with single women. Is that what you're talking about? I got it that you're leaving, Tony, and this will be on the website to watch later if you want. So thanks for being here. Okay, McLean, I'm really hoping you're gonna say yes or clarify. You're probably typing something up. So let's say we want to repel jealous women. What would be a huge turnoff to women who are insecure with their man? But they're always insecure, right? Like anybody can develop insecurity, but these are women who they're kind of like needy and clingy, and they need to know that they're the most important thing or else they're not good enough. Like they're not secure in themselves. Okay, so he says someone who's jealous would be someone who is insecure with you tipping an attractive waitress a high amount, for example. Okay, that's a great example. Okay, so, and she doesn't have to be so secure that she's fine with you hanging out with single women all day. But there are women who are fine with that. They're fine. They know they're fine. That would require some maturity. But anyways, back to you. You want to turn off women who are jealous. Here's an example of something that might do that. And then I want you to think of one, okay? If you, you could say, I don't date exclusively until 90 days in. That would let women know they're not the only one you're with. And if they're really jealous, that would be a huge turnoff. And by the way, I'm going to recommend that to anyone. Like my clients are not allowed to go exclusive until, let's see, 90 days. They can start building, they can start working towards exclusive at 60 days, but it's just not long enough to build a healthy foundation. Okay. So, if you put in your profile, don't like, I will date no one exclusively until at least 90 days of knowing you. Do you see that that would repel jealous women? Like nobody would even answer that if they're jealous. I'm really hoping to get a response. Sorry, guys. I just love the interaction. It lets me know that what I'm saying is landing. And while McLean's thinking about that, or while YouTube has a lag time, Darren, have you thought of what could repel someone cruel? Good. McLean says, yeah, I like that. So all of these guys, you can go through and logically deduce what you need to do to chase away the bad ones and call in the high caliber, amazing ones. Okay. We're going to keep going just because like I wanted this call to be around 45 minutes or less. So I want you to, your entire profile should be calling to her, not talking about you. This is another point. Stop talking about you and talk about how amazing her life is going to be when she says yes to you, but only the right kind of woman. Like, for example, I don't go exclusive until I've been dating you at least 90 days, but I date so intentionally. Like, I'm going to train you how to win with me before 90 days. So you know everything I love about what you're doing. That would make a woman feel very secure. And you guys probably want me to repeat it so you can write it down now, right? That's called manipulating. Like if you say something to make someone feel a certain way, but nevertheless, we're trying to attract the right kind of women. Okay. So, Darren, I'm not going to address your question right now because but maybe in a second. Okay. So anyways, your profile should be about her. Guys, I'm going to say that again. Your profile should be about her. For example, if you want to have children, you want to say something like, I am an amazing provider and I cannot wait to support the mother of my next children. Do you see how that's about her? Or I'm an amazing provider and I can't wait to be an equal partner in changing the diapers with my wife of our kids. That's about her future. When you play poker, they say play the opponent's hand, not your own. That's how I internalize what you're saying. Great feedback, McLean. So you want your profile to be a commercial of her future life and one that turns off the wrong kind of women. And it needs to be really intentional. Like I want every one of your photographs. I want you to delete all the ones you have on there now and take new ones. If you love children, have it be you pushing a kid on a swing set. If you want more children, have it put one with a caption. You're holding a baby saying, not mine, but I can't wait to have more. Okay. There are women who want to have babies and lots of them, but you're not going to find that out by asking them. And here's why. If you ask a woman if she wants a child, she'll say, oh, sure. With you, I would. But then when she wakes up 7 months from now and you've wasted 7 months of your life, she's going to say, you know what? I've already had 3 kids and I really don't want to do that again. It would be so hard on my body. So you have to look for evidence. Put out that which would call for her. Okay? Which will make her feel secure, which will make her want to go out with you. It's not about what you're interested in, by the way, unless you really want a woman who's mature and loves fishing, in which case you should put a picture of you fishing with a little arrow on it going, can't wait to find my fishing partner, right? Or have you ever been fishing in, I'm trying to think, ice holes? or something interesting, right? That would, if a woman loves to fish, she'd be like, oh, and you'd have that. If that's really important to you, that would be your first picture. Okay. All right. Now, in conclusion, if you want guidance and support to win this game, we have your back. Because when you have a bulletproof system for attracting the right women and repelling the wrong women, dating suddenly becomes easy. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you did the work? Like this isn't quick and easy. There's work to do, but if you are willing to actually do the work to lay this foundation, can you imagine dating where you have unlimited dating leads, where you turn down amazing women all the time because they're not a match for you and you have so many dates, you can't keep up? Okay? How would your health improve if you could wake up with the certainty that you know you're on track to find your sweetheart and you'll be married to her in less than 18 months? Like, you are committed to that and you know it's possible. That's what we provide. Like, what would your life be like? How would your sleep improve? Like, if you're excited now about your life, you're anticipating finding her, you know it's going to happen. How would your finances improve? Because when you go to work, you're actually now building a future for your family. You're no longer just surviving. How would your performance at work improve? How would your finances improve? You're like, you know what? I better save up for a honeymoon real quick. I better look for some inexpensive cruise options, or maybe if Corona's gone, when I'm ready to get married next year, right? If you are willing to step up and do the work, there is nothing you can't have in creating your future family or your future partnership. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's going to be a hell of a lot easier than the way you've been doing it. Hours and hours on apps, going out with the wrong women, awkward social activities, wasting your time, being alone every day, living with your cat or your dog in an empty house, not having anyone to cook for years, and you might see a result. So if you guys are interested in getting support around this, go to thrivingresults.info/apply. I'm going to drop this in the chat. Okay, that's thrivingresultsinfo.info. thrivingresults.info/apply, and that's going to take you to a calendar where you can book a call. Okay, so when you do that, you're saying, you know what, I'm ready to draw a line in the sand. I'm serious about this, and I don't want it to take 5 more years. That's who this call is for, okay? Because our program really isn't, like, if you're comfortable with this process taking 5 years, we're probably not a fit. But if you want to be led by the hand, step by step, and we provide support until you get to the finish line. That means either until you have created a life partnership or you're getting married. We provide support all the way to the finish line. And what's unique about our approach is that it's not just how to get women. Lots of dating coaches offer that. What we offer that's unique is how to create a healthy relationship from before date number 1. A healthy relationship that gets better over time. That's why my relationship model is called Thriving Relationship Model. It means it gets better over time. Okay, guys, so if you're interested in that, thrivingresults.info/apply. And thanks for being here. Thanks for participating, guys. Darren, Tony, McLean, you're awesome. Loved it. And I'm going to set up the time for my live call in the Facebook group sooner. I'm struggling to figure out how to connect it live to YouTube, like to get the link early, basically, but I'll have that sorted out in a couple days and we'll get those posted. So we'll see you guys soon.